it. 'Cause it was there. We're art sluts.
Hey, everybody. I want to give a little backstory on our guest today, Gretchen Phillips. I met Gretchen Phillips after a Meet Joy show with Sheila and Terry. I don't really remember if we actually spoke, but I believe Sheila got Gretchen's address. Meet Joy was like lightning in a bottle and influenced us forming the Art Sluts. Sheila and I began writing letters back and forth to Gretchen, as punks did in that day. Which resulted in one of many infamous Ann and Sheila road trips. Driving to Austin and Bucky, Sheila shortly decided to go back home, and I stayed. I already loved Austin musicians like the Butthole Surfers, Big Boys, the Dicks, even before discovering Meet Joy. And while in Austin, I fell in love with the music of Daniel Johnston. I was welcomed into Austin by Gretchen and her friends, and she actually gave me a place to stay, which I didn't appreciate enough at the time. And I was invited to open up for Glass Eye and Bubble Puppy at Wavy Gravy's celebration at the Continental Club. So who is Gretchen Phillips? If you know her, you already know this. Gretchen is a force of nature, smart, funny, talented. Her songwriting, guitar playing, and performing have always pushed boundaries. Listen in for her frequent use of the Yamaha DJ X2, and then hear polished, crafted songs of Two Nice Girls, and her most recent exploration into ambient country with Pico Farad. Whether signed to a major label or putting out a cassette of her reading porn over music, her creativity is unparalleled. Her mission to inject her experience as a lesbian into mainstream music underscores her humanistic approach to life and people. Hey, everybody. We've got a really good treat today. We have old friend and pretty famous lady, Gretchen Phillips from Two Nice Girls and Meet Joy and Queen of Austin music scene. Welcome to the show, Gretchen.
Thank you so much, Ann. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. I have really been enjoying doing a deep dive on your work because I'm familiar with, obviously, Meet Joy and Two Nice Girls. And yesterday you texted me to check out Bits and Bobs, which I enjoyed so much. In particular, I loved the hernia song.
$5 hernia?
I loved it.
I wrote it right here. Running the cassette and just
it was
making
great.
it up on the spot. That's folk music for you. Not particularly interesting chord progressions, but let the stream of consciousness go.
Most recently, Gretchen pulled out all the old archives and put together an album of music called Bits and Bobs. I'm only going to play you a portion of this next song, but I loved it. You'll hear why. It's called My $5 Hernia.
To add insult to injury, I don't have insurance. It's a long story having to do with homophobia at University of Texas at Austin. Although I've been with my girlfriend for 16 years, the state doesn't recognize same-sex partnership. By the same token, I don't really want to get domestically hooked up with her. It's just not hot to us. But I was scared. Oh, where am I going to come up with the money for this hernia? It's the sort of thing you actually have to have surgery for. I got to take care of this hernia. How am I going to afford surgery for this hernia? Luckily, People's Community Clinic and Project Access were on board.
Right. And it kind of, I have a note here, don't talk about yourself, Anne. But it reminded me of this song that Sheila and I did called Civilization that was about a game that had 13 steps, so it had 13 verses. So yeah. I was remembering that. But there's so much that I was really identifying, and I'm sure that Terry would and other creative women our age would, is that whole sensibility at this time in our life to like digitize our work and somehow get it in the vault in a way. And I noticed you've been doing that and pulling out some gems.
Yeah, I mean, well, my archive is at Cornell, so they have on a hard drive every video performance of mine that I have.
Wow, that's
I
great.
mean, not childhood stuff, but
Yeah.
what was easy enough for me to just run. I put out a call for VCRs because they're all a little bit different, and
Hmm.
found one that seemed pretty good, and then I just would in real time run the VCR while doing other things and digitize, ancient footage and put it on there so that it's in a repository someplace outside of my home, you
Right.
know,
Right.
for now that requires curiosity on someone's part to
Sure.
then go look at it. But that's not, but at least it's quote unquote safe someplace.
Absolutely. What's your connection to Cornell?
They have a really cool human sexualities collection and an archivist who has been concentrating since the early 90s, particularly on that. And then my particular collection also ties into their punk collecting. So they have two great women archivists who are, and Cornell was, wanted my stuff. And so they also have Robert Moog.
Oh, nice.
Not all of it, but some. There's some Ed Wood in there.
Nice.
There's a lot of witches, like the dude who was a book collector who started Cornell. He was super into witchcraft and stuff, so they
Right.
have really cool old texts on that. Giant punk, hip hop holdings, zines. It's just a really good
That's
place.
great.
Yeah.
I've been tapping into the Internet Archive as a part of the Library of Congress,
Cool.
which it might be another good spot. It's kind of more of a all access repository, like you said, of just kind of everything. Gretchen's next band with Kay Turner, called Girls in the Nose, was around for a while, and this is a song called Where Girls Go.
One is for the money.
I was thinking, I just have so many questions for you. One of the things I wanted to tap into was, and I've kind of read some of your interviews and so forth, is that unusual time period that we were in the 80s, as far as like our community and music and creativity. And then I also wanted to tap into, in fact, let's start here with my second question. Are you, as an artist, are you more about process or product, would you say?
Oh, process.
Yeah, that's kind of the instinct I got. So your first band was called Meat Joy, which is definitely about process for sure. That whole Fluxus movement and that whole artistic movement. Can you talk about how Meat Joy started?
Yeah, but just all of those little sounds that sound like beeps and things, is that on your end?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, as long as it's not telling us anything.
So sorry about that.
What sound that a man created am I supposed to pay attention to? How is it that you're asking me to stop paying attention to my train of thought and pay attention to your, alarm on some version? I would say there is a great book that we wrote about Meat Joy and how it formed that you can get through Bandcamp through our Meat Joy music site that really tells the history in a good way. Quickly, I'll just say Meat Joy was a gang of people who were interested in artists stretching outside of their sort of prescribed art area, let's say. I'm sorry, Anne, I've told this story so many times.
Let's skip it.
It's okay. I think I just don't have the attention span for it today.
It's totally fine. If you heard episode 3, you have already heard Meat Joy, which is a band that was around in 1984, 1985. And we're going to listen to a great song called My Heart Crawls Off.
I just called the operator. She said that your phone was busy. Well, so I started crying, but I stopped. It just made me dizzy. Yes, I know that you're talking to her like you used to talk to me. Y'all have probably gone so far that she's seen that mole on your knee. Every time that you touch me, I see her in your eyes. to see how you're killing me inside. Oh, 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 every time that you touch me, I see her in your eyes, and then a little part of me, it crawls off and dies. It crawls off and dies. It crawls off and dies. But I'll love you.
Let's jump back into your process. I know that you started playing music from a young age, and
Yeah.
if you are you up for talking about your creative process? And I guess one of my questions was, obviously you have been a spokeswoman for the lesbian community for ages, and what's the combination between your message of lesbian culture and getting that in mainstream society, and then just the creative process as a seed?
Well, I mean, one thing that I have been really noticing lately is the idea of currents. And what is a current? Like when I'm jamming with people, our sound waves in the room are kind of a current. It's just really one step removed from solid matter, sound waves.
Yeah.
Um, and these ways of being attuned to currents, I think I've always been really interested in that. Um, and there's the flow, there's the direction where everything's going.
Hmm.
Go with the flow.
Right.
And then there can be, I don't like where the flow is going. When I was a child, sexism was rampant. It was very casual. It was very commonplace. It was in all advertising. It was everything a boy said to me in elementary school. And that was a very strong current that I didn't agree with,
Hmm.
in terms of just literally the message, girls can't do this, girls can't do that.
Right.
And so for me, okay, well then how do I create a counter current? And if I'm going counter to a current that is pretty strong, who are my companions here? Am I by myself? Have I found some other folks who are interested in the highways and the byways off the beaten track? Have I created an identity that's so profound that to be in the mainstream is gross to me? I would never want to do that. There's just, I can pay attention to currents, to the blood flowing through my body, how my aging heart reacts, what's going on with digestion, all of, the weather, certainly. And I've been feeling a lot, actually, politically lately around currents of respect. And that's something I've always really thought about as far as human rights or well, not, I don't want to just say human rights because I don't know if you know this amazing Moondog song. Do you know
No.
the musician
No,
Moondog?
I've got my notepad, so I'm taking notes though.
Okay, Moondog has an amazing song called Enough About Human Rights.
Oh.
Enough about human rights. What about whale rights?
Ah.
What about snail rights? What about stoat rights? What about goat rights?
Right.
And in fact, he was a complicated dude who apparently was quite anti Semitic. So, what about rights? But I think this larger question for me as a child of the universe, which I feel very much like I've always been in touch with, um, is that a current that can exist, that it's a flow that allows me to just trip along and have a process of a life. In terms of saying, is it the process? It's very much a process where I'm just, tripping along, thinking, being curious, wanting to know. I have a bit of a scientific component to my personality and my sort of leanings, so I'll run a few different
Is
experiments
that from your
and take
your
notes.
upbringing, your dad being a scientist?
I think it's just the way I was born this way. Certainly dad, but also I think I was born born, I think a scientist is by nature curious, and I do have that. So in a room of jamming, a kind of curiosity about, here we are, we're all on A. What happens if I could take it to the 4, I could take it to the 5, I could take it to something completely different. What happens if we do this? And certainly that was the case for me as a person slotted to be straight as a kid, of course. What happens if I don't do this? What happens if I go with the current of my desire that is counter to in fact, in Houston, there were gay radio shows on public access. There was gay bookstores. There was certainly lesbian folk music that I could listen to. So it all, for me, is basically riding the currents of life. It's nothing different from that.
Two Nice Girls formed in 85 and continued until the early 90s. I believe one of their launch to major label was their song Sweet Jane.
Standing on the corner, there's a suitcase in my hand. Jack is in his corset, and Jane she's in her vest. Me, I'm in a nice girl's band, riding in a Sluts backcat. I wish those were different times. All the boys said studied loose first, and the ladies, they rolled their eyes. Sweet Jane, Jane, sweet Jane, Jane, sweet Jane, Jane. Jack is a banker, and Jane is a clerk, and all they save their money when they come home from work, sitting by the fire, and the radio is playing, and the march of the wooden soldiers, yeah. You can hear Jackie say, just give me love, sweet Jane, with affection. Sing me another love song, but this time with a little dedication. Sing it, sing it, sing it, sing it, sweet Jane. You know that's what I like, love it. Some people are the only ones who blush. Just stick to those ones, and then life is just to die. Anyone who had a heart wouldn't turn around and break it. Anyone who had to play the part wouldn't turn around and hate. Sweet Jane, 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 sweet Jane, 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 sweet Jane, 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 sweet Jane, Jane. Just give me love, sweet Jane, with affection. Sing me another love song, but this time with a little dedication. Sing it, sing it, sing it, sing it, sweet Jane. You know that's what I like, love.
That totally makes sense. And it's really interesting to hear the progression of your music because again, I have this connection with you, always have, but the parallels, like you doing, get with your new band that I was listening to, the
Pico Farad?
yeah, it's like basically ambient country or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's total current making.
Total.
Where we're just making a current. And then after our first practice, I was like, this is great. But, I felt like I want something more. And I thought of the most sort of counter genre to ambient, which was, what about classic country?
Right.
But then the classic country actually just emotionally fits.
Yeah.
The emotion of
Right.
of usually loss. Those are the songs I'm drawn to.
Right.
Or a kind of, if it's together again, a kind of minor key togetherness, but there's such a bittersweetness to it.
And even the pacing of country
Yes.
is like very straight ahead,
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And, one of the things I've always explored, but even more specifically since COVID, is the effect of music and sound on people in a way of communicating that can't be specified. You know what I'm saying? Like you can communicate an emotion through just sound as opposed to message.
Outside of language.
Right.
Okay, so music as music, as an instrumental form of communicating that is not necessarily bound by language for its meaning.
Right.
Yeah.
So crazy. Because when I was listening to the process of that band, I encourage everybody to check this out. Pico Farad. Where's that name come from?
It's a unit of measurement in electronics, and I think it's really farad, but we like to say farad. But it's like a millifarad, microfarad, picofarad. It's an electronic measurement.
That's so cool. Do you feel like it communicates better in a live improvisational setting or more on the recording?
I mean, what we have on SoundCloud is 1,000 years old from like the third time we played. We have so many things since then. Everything is. I mean, we keep trying to record ourselves and release it, but it's always. I would say that it's a very much a live thing.
Yeah.
Although I don't think it's a terrible thing on recording either. I am so not product oriented, frankly, that I have, I think, pretty great products that could be released that I keep to myself because that step is not as interesting to me any longer.
Right.
The magic of our, the meaning of objects when we started out and what was precious about them and what has become, I feel like, too much information, honestly, TMI, in every fucking form there is.
Exactly.
So, in a certain way, I hold back, I think, somewhat, going to yet another man who is making money in a tech way off of the fruits of my lesbian labor, and I will never see it. Where it's kind of like, sorry, I guess you had to be there. Um, I don't necessarily any longer feel like what I have to say is so important that by any means necessary the message must get out there. I've handed the baton to, younger younger people. It's not. I don't think that it's imperative in the way that that was very much a driving force when I was young, and it felt
Identity,
like,
really.
yeah, and it just felt like I had a job I needed to do, but it kind of feels like, okay, I did a pretty good job of establishing, I mean, me plus a bunch of other people. I am certainly not saying that this is just
Right.
me.
Right.
It's not a singularity, but what does happen in a relay to that person who went out second, and there's other people now running with the baton, doing very well. I still am a runner. I still like to run. But in this race, it's not that important for me with those spectators to be going around again.
Right. Right. Well, I will certainly listen to whatever you put out for sure. Also on Bits and Bob is Andy's dance solo. I believe this might have been the beginning of Gretchen's ambient phase. I'm going to give you a flashback moment. On one of our episodes with Pam and Terry, we all talked about the blue truck.
Oh, okay. I have so much to say about the blue truck.
Good.
Sugar Ball.
Is that the name of it?
Sugar Ball.
Oh my God, I love that truck.
Datsun.
Yeah, yes, I loved it so much. And Pam is pretty convinced that she actually borrowed it for a while as well. Like it took the circuit, but I mean, it was literally life changing for me. Um, and I'll just, on a personal note, just say you were life changing for me. And just making that connection and transitioning what turned out out of the art sluts into other stuff. So thank you for that. But
Oh, Anne, I'm so glad.
transport, which was crazy because I was riding a bike everywhere in August heat in Austin. It was hot.
Thanks for listening to Art Sluts Radio.
Hey, if you identify with the Art Sluts, explore our herstory at artsluts.net. That's ARTSLUTS.net. And purchase downloads of our music wherever you stream music.
All contributions and purchases will go to support Planned Parenthood.
Currently, 21 states have limited access to women's health care, including abortion, and 15 of those have a total ban.
Talking about your abortion experience, voting, and donating to support abortion rights will make a difference.
I hate